All right, so my name is JL. Those are my initials. Um, I've been using YouTube, watching videos on YouTube, and creating content on and off sporadically, and at times lots of uploads, mostly shorts. I specialize in shorts, but what I'm trying to do right now, even with God's leading, is to be able to make content that benefits the public, hopefully advances the kingdom of God. In a way, I want to make my intent now, I'm turning a new leaf, is to make content that is funny, creative, informative, entertaining, but also I want to do this in a way where I'm not making a fool out of myself or putting the body of Christ to shame, misrepresenting God. I most certainly don't want to be making YouTube videos when I'm tweaking or under the influence of anything illegal. I'm trying to give up. But where am I going to start? Okay. There's lots of things I'm interested in, lots of different interests. Not stereotypical autistic, but okay. I was just rehearsing things for this YouTube video, and what's been in my mind, what's been in my heart lately is politics and that relation to religion and the things going on in the world, as well as the economy and the border issues and all that. And in November, while I had the intentions of voting, I didn't vote. I couldn't make it there. I should have a car at my age. Had a truck before in a sailboat, but I was busy at that time. It's kind of personal what I was doing. I don't want to just put I don't just want to give the public on YouTube, share all my business, because there's people that will misuse that. There's people that will slander me. There's people that use that against me. But I was misled spiritually at that time where I probably shouldn't have been voting. I was coached, and I was talked into conducting a third cleansing ritual through a spiritual practitioner. A spiritualist dwells at a temple. Sometimes she leaves, go to friends' house. She's 42 years of age. We even have a soul tie with each other, but she was having me perform a cleansing ritual, even with full knowledge that, as I've told her, that I have a background as a born-again Christian, the real kind of Christianity. No one's Christianity is 100% perfect and 100 full alignment with Scripture, because we're all human. We're all bound to have delusions, make mistakes, sin, misrepresent God. And some people will make a whole doctrine and even say it's a heaven and hell issue based on one or two scriptures. For what I stand, you got to have at least 3 or 4 scriptures to be able to make a sound doctrine out of something. But anyway, I'm trailing off. What I'm trying to say is that if I voted, I was sort of undecided, but my Christian background and things like that put me in league with voting for a Republican. Although I wish there was a candidate a little better than Trump, someone less narcissistic, someone not bigoted, I was probably going to vote for Trump. Although there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't have. Okay. From an economic standpoint, I'm blue collar. I'm living on SSI. I've had it since 2015. Saved up quite a bit of money to get my own housing. Shouldn't be living at a parent's house at this age, but I contribute here and everything. But if I voted for, what is that lady's name? Well, at that time I was kind of a spiritualist. But what is her name? My mom doesn't like her. One of my brothers isn't fond of her. He's like a Republican voter, Republican leaning. And of course, my dad would have pushed me to vote for the Democrat. I can't remember her name for some reason. But yeah, I know her, but it's in the back of my head. But I probably wouldn't have voted for Trump, although that would put me at odds, like with LGBTQ people. Me sort of being one of them, but I was just confused when I was younger. But that's my business. I don't need to get into that. LGBTQ. I'm kind of the Q letter, all right? Used to swing around a little bit, but if I voted for Trump, that time, even now, I feel like I'd be stabbing myself in the throat, because everyone should know by now that even if God can use someone like me, he can use him, but even if God's using him, he's putting himself, he's in the highest position, highest office in America, where he could pass all the executive orders. But Donald Trump seems to forget or doesn't know that in politics, it demands compromise in some areas. You got to sometimes swing or have wiggle room for the left, or at least the moderates. Like, it's either, okay, if you think you're this big man of God, like, if you want to do his will all the way, perhaps just not be president, or just make a YouTube video and talk about your ideology. Talk about Jesus, that kind of stuff. Or go in a pew and start over. He's not born again, okay? But don't let him fool you into thinking he speaks for God. You know, there's some issues, you know, that some of his stances I agree with. I agree with Trump that there's nothing morally wrong about building a wall to separate America and Mexico. But what is morally wrong is all the drug smuggling and the human trafficking. Some of these poor women probably being minors, and then these illegal immigrants that come here, a number of which have committed atrocious, heinous crimes against American citizens who didn't belong here in the first place. Yeah, by all means, get them out of here, deport them. And I wouldn't, even if they commit a life offense, I wouldn't have them in American prison. I don't want to pay taxes. We don't want to pay to have some illegal immigrant, human trafficker, someone robbing and killing people, raping or whatever. We don't want them in our American prisons. It costs a lot of money to keep them locked up. Yeah, by all means, deport them. But everyone knows, or most people probably know, some are in denial of it, that Trump, he kind of makes undertones at times that it's not just about the dealing with the enemies of America we have, you know, the globalists, probably the most of the left. He stands up for American citizens, but not all of us. Like, he's got the kind of love for America Hitler had for Germany. Of course, Hitler had a love for Germany, but he tried to exterminate an entire ethnicity or a race or religion of people known as the Jews. The whole different tangent. All because of these conspiracy theories about Jewish occultists, the elites, they have Freemason ties, war profiteers. He took that, and yeah, they're not even real Jews. But anyway, it's a whole different tangent. So yeah, he's not like Hitler in those regards. But everyone knows it's not just the enemies of America, like the terrorists, the drug smugglers, the human traffickers, and all that. Of course, he's against them just like me, but he also doesn't like the undesirables. He wants to clean up the streets over in Washington, where they got these tent cities and you got all these drug addicts, recidivism. He wants to make it a law to where he wants to alter legislation where these people are confronted by the authorities and either given an ultimatum of getting clean, getting treatment, or going to jail. By all means, give them that ultimatum so they're not littering the streets with needles, they're not ODing, they're not looting stores, they're not bothering people in the streets, tents, like trashing up the streets, making America look bad. But everyone knows that, you know, he's probably never done drugs, he doesn't even drink, he doesn't smoke weed, so he much less doesn't do drugs. He can't relate to substance abuse. Of course, I've been through that issue. Still kind of going through it, but that's personal. But yeah. Of course, I don't misuse state funds or anything like that. No, I absolutely don't spend money on that. All right? Because that's like stealing from the government, all right? You see here, plenty of things I have to trade. Like, for example, I wanted to get some shrooms to deal with my PTSD issues being widowed. But I'm trailing off all over the place. Autistic, ADHD, schizoaffective illness, used to be bipolar. What I'm trying to do is just put all my thoughts together. Creative, logical fashion. But all right, where was I? I'm on all these different tangents, but I'm new to this. I don't have too much experience with making these long videos. I've only made like a handful of them, or several. What I actually specialize in is the shorts, the guitar solos. I've practiced. I only know how to play my own kind of music, but I could play guitar songs of popular songs, rock, metal, Nirvana, or anything else. But it would take a lot of my time. So what I really specialize in are these silly, outlandish videos, the cat videos, the shorts. Sometimes I would do this thing where I put on a mask and mock people, the junkies, undesirables, the thieves, repeat offenders. Other times I would do satirical videos making a mockery, pretending to be evil spirits. But it's really just humor. It was meant for entertainment. And nowhere in the scriptures does it say to slander the devil every day, like I've done before. The drugs played a role in that. But yeah. But yeah, I don't think we should be stuck with Trump for like 4 years, 8 years, I don't know. Because, well, if anyone, he's focused on issues that have been plaguing America for quite some time, that the left and the progressive Democrats have neglected. And there's some problems they created. He has these extremes. He doesn't like to negotiate. Of course, these illegal immigrants and these criminals, drug smugglers, human traffickers don't belong in America. They should be apprehended and deported back, sent back, and punished in their country. But if they don't want to do that, that's their problem. But he also wants to separate. He claims he's Christian and everything. I don't think he says he speaks for God. But what he also wants to do is overthrow the whole damn establishment. Of course, I didn't vote for Hillary in 2016. I didn't vote for anyone. I didn't vote for Hillary because she just spits with the wind. At least Donald Trump has a mind of his own. But the problem with him is that he kind of has a tendency to be a red state hillbilly redneck, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And capitalism is a beautiful thing if you do it right and you don't exploit the worker. You don't price gouge things that aren't even luxury items. He sides with the medical Babylon, probably. I have an uncle that's in local politics, a commissioner or something, or even something higher. Been in politics last several years. But he has a stance on some issues, or I didn't even vote for him, kind of neutral. His name is Tim Beeson. He's my cousin. He's in his 50s, a little younger than my dad, though. He's 61. But I got flyers in the mail saying he's on the wrong side when it comes to our health care. He wanted or thought that people should be denied health coverage based on pre-existing conditions. Little does he know I have pre-existing conditions, mental health conditions, and some medical issues. Minor, though. High cholesterol, hyperlipidemia, on SSI. Not that I necessarily can't work, but I can't seem to hold a job any longer than 2 years. I held a job for 2 years twice. The first in 2019-2020, April 2019-2020, I worked at a small restaurant owned by someone. She actually was the sister, looked just like her, of a teacher, psychology teacher I had, special ed teacher. People like me should be able to get their SSI. Unless I'm housed in a facility more than 30 days, I would, of course, be honest with them, tell them that. Because no one needs to be getting paid when your room and board is paid for, like in jail. But I'm not a jailbird, but, having Trump in office, for a minority like me, I'm a minority because of my brain. I'm so different, so far from the norm. All these coexisting conditions, you can probably see I have tics. And for someone like me to vote for Trump would kind of be stupid, would kind of be illogical, because he doesn't have a voice for minorities. Republicans will say that the Democrats, the left, they want us to feel like we're victims. No one really owes me a living. I should, put my big boy pants on. I am ambitious. Recently made some resumes. I'm going to be entering a new job, a small company doing steam cleaning. All right. As soon as I have an opportunity that presents itself to me that is equal or greater than money from the state, Hampshire, whatever else, I would go ahead, take that bold leap of faith, and even work 40 hours a week only when my condition improves. Because vast majority of the time, make it to work on time. I usually do my best. I'm a damn hell of a good worker, but an employer can fire you simply because you're eccentric, or because people are reacting to you. Say one wrong thing, they think you're weird, think you're crazy, because they might think you're mentally imbalanced. Depending on how you act, especially if you're tweaking like me, they might think you're on drugs. You're not a good fit for the company. So I'm one of those people that could easily be fired, especially if not in a union. I don't have the kind of money for a union. So, I'm not with the left or the right when it comes to, I guess Trump or some other Republicans want to privatize Social Security, put it in the stock market. While it is true the funds for Social Security could be running out soon, or even by 2030, as experts say. I mean, you could put it in the stock market. The funds could replenish themselves or be even greater than what we have available for it by publicizing it. But the stock market is volatile, subject to ups and downs. We were to put our Social Security, which is money for seniors who are getting too old to work and people that are disabled mentally or physically. As for me, mentally, like almost all the way, like I'm truly disabled. I'm not lazy though. I don't want to sponge off the system the rest of my life. I've always reported my wages, turned in all my stubs for Social Security with every little thing, honest to a fault actually. Even one time I told him I got $150 for Christmas. I had the nerve to tell him that. Not because I'm trying to paint this picture that I'm more honest than I really am, or, sometimes I'm a caricature of an honest person, but yeah. Of course, I don't want to live like a cockroach the rest of my life. The thing good about SSDI is the health insurance. Well, SSDI varies. It's based upon your work history. Of course, people that get SSDI had to have worked way longer than me, usually 5 years or longer, and their SSDI amount is based on the wage they held for the longest period of time. All I can get is SSI. Of course, I had false friends, fellow addicts, much more into those things than I ever was. Much heavier of a spender than I've ever been on it. But what they'll do is blackmail you, try to suck you dry. Say you went to jail and you're homeless, you haven't talked to them in a while. You figure someone on SSI, or someone like me does eBay and stuff like that. Of course, I'm such an honest person, largely because of autism. I also give them snapshots of these investments, micro investments I have. 1% is that in crypto. And my redetermination hearing, I was honest. Told them the exact dollar and cent amount what I had. I'm not breaking any laws, not defrauding anyone. All right. I was diagnosed with schizoaffective illness, bipolar type, which is my primary one, autism spectrum disorder, unknown severity level. That takes a lot of testing. Later conduct disorder. That psychiatrist retired after 35 years. The next psychiatrist I seen didn't re-diagnose me with that. But I guess he diagnosed me with opiate use disorder. They were sucking me dry of everything I have. This bitch I was living with, probably a narcissist. And Robert, they're just so hooked on these Percocets, smoking them, which is even worse, which is a really short high like crack cocaine, almost just as expensive. They turn into crackheads. It's all well and good if you're going to have me pay a set reasonable amount beginning of the month, $350. Got to pull my own weight. I want to help keep the lights on. She would do is sell almost the entirety of her bridge card. She had a 2-year-old daughter, and get them Percocets, and then try to essentially almost force me to break the law to sell my food stamps, or some of them, so she can get more blues. I was kind of into them, but not like them. I can get a 1 hit or 2 out of every 10 pills they're sucking me dry out of. She's not paying her fucking electric bill because she spent all her fucking money on pills. Shouldn't have ever told them about having 500 available credit, where I shouldn't have stayed with the homeless shelter where they pulled me out of. Of course, they didn't need to know. They never were my friend. I can't really play victim the second time I roll with them. They say fool me once, shame on them, but fool me twice, shame on me. So shame on me the second time. More so shame on them. Pretty vulnerable person. When you get government money, apartment job, and you're also a substance abuser, you're prone to that, and they're a substance abuser, and they don't have money, and this guy was dropped out in the 9th grade, somehow, through his satanic good fortune, he lands a job, Jack Co. Inc., start $25 an hour, and at some level, he could just sort of just show up when he wanted to, within reason. Just give them notice you're not going to show up, takes an extra day off, hour and a half drive, and he screwed that up for himself, probably because my intuition tells me his girlfriend, or more like his fucking dope fiend user bitch, friend with benefits, likes his dick so much, because it's a little bigger than mine, but he's probably not diagnosed as such, but I know he's a hallmark narcissist. He's just not as vengeful as me. He'll suck you dry. They like to play it off, pretend like you're getting in they're getting the smaller end of the stick, or they're getting the even end of the stick. When they're getting the much bigger end of the stick, and especially if you're autistic and vulnerable and have addiction issues like them, they end up breaking the bigger end of the stick, making you think it's a big time mutual benefit, acting like they're my savior. Like they're the second coming of Christ, because they took me in when I was homeless when I got out of jail November, reached out to me on Facebook. I wish I never got the message. I didn't check the homeless shelter. I did. They didn't have beds available, but I don't know for sure. Maybe they did have a bed available, but it was the beginning of December. The homeless shelter here gets full in the winter. They don't want to be sleeping on the streets. Homeless people and the drug addicted can tolerate being in a tent in the woods in the summer, not the winter. So maybe my only choice was to roll with them. But they had no right to suck me dry, get me to break the law, get me to misuse government money. Just because I had a much milder addiction than them. For them, much greater addiction. They had to do it every day, multiple times a day, at all costs, all expense, to the point what they're doing is selling their bridge card. Obviously what they're doing was calling the number, 1-800 number, changing their PIN, so only get a little bit of it. They're not able to get their chunk when they're already breaking the law, selling their bridge card to get pills that they're not prescribed, and then having an autistic man-child who just got out of jail, who should be having his money to do the court-ordered drops, the drug test, which I was not able to do, because at another time they also had my phone for 2 days up the stairs, treating me like dirt. Other times using a good chunk of my money and my available credit card, transfer it into PayPal. Not only you get these pills they weren't prescribed to get high off of them, killing themselves, killing brain cells, becoming a crackhead. But what they would do is order all this takeout for grown-ass fucking adults, addicts, man-children. They'll try to extort people like me. Oh, I have my court fine at $50. I got to pay them up because that's your problem, John. I got in trouble. I was caught with a gun. And, the judge says I'm looking at a 15-year minimum if I don't do this drop and don't do this probation and blah, 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 blah. Number one, why should I pay in your fucking court fines? You're a grown-ass man. I did that. I paid my court fines as an autistic man-child in 2018 when I caught a case. Because I was in the wrong. The cops thought I was going to go after a bitch and stab a bitch, which I wasn't. I was on the phone with my damn venting. Yeah, I was saying things I shouldn't, threatening things. I wanted her dead. But the cops came. They pretty much had to come. They had to know if I was all right, if I was a danger, taking my meds. They pretty much had to have me in custody to monitor me. My bond was $10,000, 10% through a bondsman, which was $1,000. So I was paying these people back $200 a month, okay? And I also paid my court fines, minimum, basically it's a minimum of $25 a month, but because I was in Wisconsin for 2 years, and the minimum there was $50, I didn't check. So I was actually paying more than I needed to every month. Glad I did, $50 a month. An autistic man-child who owes money for bonding him out of jail because he has anger issues. They said it was carry dangerous weapon and lawful intent. Of course, I wasn't going to take it to trial because of the witnesses. Of course, a neighbor was walking down the hallway, and I pulled them aside, told them how mad I was at Julie, because she came to the door for an inspection that was scheduled, and I had some people help me clean the hell out of my apartment. And when her and the janitor knocked, it was so damn loud. A fucking box of video games, Sega games, fell in my bedroom that was right up the wall because of reverberation. And because of previous erratic behavior, she assumed I'm throwing things. She's like, John, I'm tired of this. Like, you're throwing things in here. Like, I'm just going to write you up. And my anger just went from bad to worse, getting worse. Who kind of hooting and hollering in there. I think I did say things along the lines, man, if I were any crazier, I'd give her a slow, painful death. Obviously, you don't say things like that aloud in your apartment. I was venting on the phone. But what my dad thought, of course, these cops are arresting me. We're not bad cops, mean cops. They're moderate. I believe they were giving this charge was a little erroneous. I was asking, is this a disorderly conduct? Like, no, John, this is a little more serious. I had me go answer the door. I got arrested without incident, and they were knocking loud. Like, who is this? The police. I'm like, what is the problem? He said, you said you wanted to kill Julie. So in a couple seconds, I opened the door. I'm like, where do I go? The wall. So I went to the wall, patted me down, which is procedure, protocol. Because you got to make sure I don't have a knife, right? If I was heard hooting and hollering in my apartment and mad at Julie, right? Okay. But I didn't leave my apartment with the knife. I didn't go down the hallway, down the elevator with the knife to taunt her or try to attack her. I didn't do that. I stayed in my apartment. I was cooking, cutting onions, and there was a knife on my floor. And one time I opened the door, all pissed off, not thinking about what I was doing. And the camera seen that I threw an object at my microwave. They couldn't make it out that it was a knife that I threw at the microwave. It actually was a knife. They put A and B together, and they said I was trying to simulate something, preparing how I would do an attack on Julie. And that's how Bay City, that's how a lot of cops are. They put A and B together. They want, the prosecutors and the cops want their 98%. They want to meet their arrest quotas. Maybe a lot of them want to keep the public safe. Their other priority or close second is to, get money from civil forfeiture and meet arrest quotas. They want to seem like they're busy and they're doing their job and they're half-assing their job. What they probably shouldn't have done was put me in the nut hut or a mental hospital. And if they thought I was a danger, if I wasn't getting stable, they could have just transferred me to White Pine, which is a longer-term mental health facility. You're there. That's where you go if they feel like you need supervision and meds, observation for more than 30 days, or for 10. Instead they put me in the damn jail with all these, the dumbasses, the career criminals, people selling drugs, pimping bitches out. Of course I was just in the tank. They gave me a book to read, and then one time, one of the lady cops, because the victim, or so-called victim in my case, was a woman, she also a woman in her 50s, like, I asked what my bond was, and she lied to me, even though on the computer screen, she wouldn't have seen if she checked that it was $10,000 or 10% through a bondsman. Oh, you don't get bond for what you did. You'll be arraigned on Tuesday. Of course, that Monday was Martin Luther King Day or President's Day or something. I got there on Friday afternoon, like 1:32 p.m. Of course, I was almost crying on the phone. My dad's like, man up. You shouldn't have been acting like that. Because he thought I was innocent. He eventually wanted to try to get me to take it to trial. But I don't think that would have been a good result. If the jury convicted me, which they probably would have, not that I was necessarily guilty, probably halfway there. Yeah, what I'm guilty of was disturbing the peace and disorderly conduct and making a false threat. Carry a weapon with unlawful intent. To me, it would involve leaving my apartment, being seen on camera with a knife, showing that I'm waiting for her, looking for her, which I didn't do. These cops, I mean, some of them good intentions, others not as much. These law enforcement and the prosecutors their agenda isn't just to lock up the criminals and protect the public. They also want to lock away the undesirables, people that rub people the wrong way, people that cause disturbances, people that piss off police, neighbors, and prosecutors, judges. They don't want outspoken people or disorderly people. Society either. They have a bunch of money to get bonded out. So their third agenda, their second, some of their first is, of course, money. Money is the god of this world. The Hebrew word for that, mammonism, which is greed. There's also a spirit called mammon, they believe. There may not be such a thing. But the God of America, although we don't have a national religion, is what I would call mammonism. The worship of money, having to work 78 hours a week to make ends meet because people don't know what they're doing. There's a mismanagement of this country. The dollar, the U.S. dollar is being annihilated. You get with all the mass shootings, all the crimes going on, and the school shootings. We're probably going to get to the point after the dollar already collapses. We're going to be in the position where the elites want to put microchip people with an implant that tracks all our movements, since some people can't be trusted. And then anyone that's a little too Christian, those are extremists, put in the same league as Christian. And like, they got to know everywhere you're going, what you're doing. And then what they could possibly do is press a button to kill you, blow it up. And then there was a meeting in 2005 I seen, uploaded and re-uploaded, about how this commission has this plan in order to combat terrorism, religious extremism that leads danger to other people and loss of life. Terrorism, thanks to these radical Muslims, now people that want to follow God and Christ don't want the mark of the beast or a chip, you know. They only need God's eyes, not them at the government. Yeah, those people, what they want to do is put a chip, some kind of chip and implant in your body that contains a respiratory virus that goes to your brain. Some people call it the God part of the brain. And even if you're a good kind of religious person, whether you're one of those people that falsely invokes the name of God, carrying out acts of terrorism, loss of life, you know, which are people that don't have the Holy Spirit, as well as people with the Holy Spirit that want to follow God's word and his laws over man's laws. And the Christians that don't want to follow just one law given to the land with the New World Order. Of course, all the borders essentially erased. Of course, you'll still have signs saying, oh, this is Mexico, this is America, this is Canada. New World Order, one world government, they want those people to be eradicated, you know, or whatever. You know, and what this is, in that kind of regime, a New World Order, because the devil isn't a counterfeiter. He can't always just be the opposite of God, because people see through that. You're going to have laws, you know, you're going to have the elites force laws that God wouldn't intend, laws of man, and then inhibiting real believers from following laws of God, like not taking the mark of the beast, which makes you bound for hell. We don't want to eliminate those people, but they also want to eradicate the crazies, the radicals, the quasi-religious extremists, terrorist groups, hate groups. They want all those people monitored and dealt with, depending on how dangerous they are, have them put away, executed. But with all that, but if you want to have all that solved, of course, Antichrist is going to be, people are going to look up to him, everything, the beast, because he's going to solve age-old problems, most of the world's problems, okay? Jesus is on earth. He wasn't solving the world's problems. They were expecting like a Jewish king or something. He said his kingdom wasn't of the world, you know. So what the beast and the false prophet are going to do is take care of the immediate needs of the public and get rid of the ills, things that plague the world, but at the expense to where you're also denied salvation if you believe the gospel and follow it. You know, God's elect, Jews or whatever, will be safe, harm's way, but barely surviving because they can't buy or sell without a mark. Should either be on your forehead or your right hand. I think right hand. And yep, it's plain as day now. A lot of those conspiracy theories are a joke, like flat earth. Don't believe that nonsense, but the baby out the bathwater. It's all hidden in plain sight. Certain way, YouTube video, certain way you can arrange dollar bills, a 1, a 5, a 20, to where it very much looks like the Twin Towers burning down, hey, there was an Illuminati card game early mid-90s that was later discontinued because the elites didn't want people knowing that. People weren't ready for that. They didn't want people losing their minds. But we already know, even from the 90s or the 80s or even earlier, you had these elites, most of them with names you've never heard of, billions of dollars. They have all this time in the world. They don't have to work. What they can do is put symbols and stuff on packs of cigarettes. People just think it's just packaging, a logo. Every company's got to have their individuality. But when you actually start investigating these things, especially when you believe in God, Spirit of God, you're a believer, also following sound doctrine, all right, you're going to find all these synchronicities. Haven't you ever noticed that on the App Store, on our phones, Android, Apple, you'll notice that the Google app or the Play Store app or whatever is the seal of Lucifer / Satan. Hey, any born-again Christian who has background in the occult belief systems, Satanism, Luciferianism, Wicca, Thelema, witchcraft, any of that kind of stuff, knows these symbols. And if you're like me, some of us have tried to summon, high-ranking evil spirits and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm hip that kind of thing. And a lot of people are not on board with this because they believe in the stereotype that we're just a bunch of crazies, radicals, schizophrenics, people that wear a tinfoil hat at night. Hey, I can afford like 10 things of tinfoil. I don't put tinfoil hats on at night to sleep. I don't put tinfoil over my head to prevent a spell from being cast on me. I got one foot in reality. Yeah. Oh, not to mention, I've also had people, Instagram, Facebook, supposedly part of the Illuminati, try to reach out to me. People that are chosen, set apart from God, someone with a special destiny, people with a high divine calling. You end up, if that sounds like you, like me, you're probably going to have spiritualists, witches, psychic readers, tarot card readers, so-called prophets, charlatans, spiritual scammers, and then people that aren't actually spiritual scammers or charlatans, who are actually, men and women of God reaching out to you eventually, depending on what you got into and what doors you opened up, which happened to me. Of course, people on Quora, and, they're all, a lot of them are well-informed, intelligent people on there, but a lot of the time it's just opinions, and there's even people, real Christians, just religious people, or even secular people that know the Bible front and cover, lots of scriptures. There are a lot of scriptures they could use to advise me not to work with what they thought was a spiritual scammer, but I guess it turns out I was in error. They're the sort of people that think that the only way you can hear from God is the scriptures. Like, of course, that's the main thing. He says his word is above his name, but there's going to be other ways in which the Spirit of God is going to try to reach out to you. He wants you to know where to work, who to marry, where to live, and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to get that from God's word. And people take that to the extreme. They put the signs and wonders, the miracles, and the gifts of God, gifts of the Spirit, casting out devils and tongues and stuff like that. Put that on a pedestal, But anyway, I'm on a tangent. But where was I? Yeah. So I am a vulnerable person. And if you're like me and you've saved well over $1,000, even $1,500, hell, even if you got a few hundred to your name, you paid your bills, somehow a lot of people can spell money. So although 99% of them couldn't suck me into it, I've had a lot of people who are obviously scammers reaching out to me, including, I made some of my posts public, and one of my posts said, leave me out of your parasitic lifestyle, you personality disorder individuals, such as narcissists and the sociopaths, or antisocial personality disorder, which used to be referred to as psychopathy or sociopathy. I'm warning those people to keep me out of their parasitic lifestyle, out of their charm, deception, because the money I have is either A, I've been blessed by God for it, or B, I worked for it, or I got lucky occasionally. All right, so my money is my money. If you're not a man or woman of God, You're a charlatan. You're a fake. If you're asking me to tithe, okay, you best know, or know that you know that this is the will of God, okay? But I guess that wasn't registering with me because I ended up blocking him on WhatsApp. I got his Facebook ban, trying to tell me, oh, I guess someone just confirmed me this lady blessed him with a car, not a brand new car, a nice one, and he had another car. He was going to send me a spare car for $200. As far as his whereabouts, what he's doing with his life, confirming he's in ministry, where he's traveling around to, he just left that kind of vague and there's inconsistencies. So I don't know what to believe right now. I'm trying to think through this because I'm trying to acknowledge God in all my ways. There is 99% of the time, there's no reason why I should just, without thinking twice, just add someone who's clearly from Nigeria or somewhere similar. Hey, I'm not attacking people just because they're Nigerian. To my understanding, most of those people are scammers and con artists and spiritual scammers and fakes and self-proclaimed false prophets. Or they saying they got the settlement and I got to pay this. Yeah, just don't even try it with me. Not only am I discerning, I'm smarter than I look. Not as nearly as dumb as I look. Number two, I have the gift of discernment. But my conditions kind of make it difficult, the second guessing and all that. Like if God wants to deliver a message to me, it's usually got to be in my sleep, in my dreams, where I'm not second guessing. The unconscious mind, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm at the crossroads and I didn't block him on my phone, left you all these messages, but I just needed a break from him to reflect on it. So I'm kind of battling between, I'm kind of leaning towards this is a true man of God. He prays for people. I love all the way he prays. He asked me to send him my wishes, things I want from God, blessings. I sent him a picture of that. He said he would anoint it with oil and all that. But a lot of time he would be calling me, I just have this uptightness in my chest. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my cautiousness because I've been taken advantage of many times before, even put in the hole. And I would say at least some of the time I allowed it to happen. I was blind to it. And at times I even seen what was coming, but was in denial about it, okay? You can only play victim if the same person victimizes you once. If you keep rolling with them a few months later and keep allowing it to continue, all right? Obviously, I'm not much of a victim anymore, okay? So you know I'm not a narcissist. Accountability is in the picture. I could definitely take more accountability, but I believe if I get 1% better every day, that's not that doesn't guarantee I'm going to have a spot in heaven or have a great life. But if you're at least becoming 1% better every day, God has a better chance of working with you than the rest of the others. Some people don't even get 1% better every day. Some people don't even get 1% better every week or month or year. Some people just stay stagnant and some people get worse, 1% worse every day. Like some of these motherfuckers I've been dealing with. The junkies, the con artists, the narcissists, the swindlers, the self-interested people. Self-serving. Wolves in sheep's clothing. I'd rather have a straight-up enemy than a false friend. Because what enemies are your teachers. They're not always your enemy. Our opponents and our critics are our teachers. I try not to see a person who's in opposition with me or because someone disagrees with me or doesn't like me. I don't see them automatically as an enemy. But if they're making a career or they're trying to get over on me over and over again, slandering me, even if some of them things are true, if they're telling things about people, things I did before that I'm ashamed of, I wouldn't do again, trying to paint this horrible picture about me, that's gossip, that's slander, that's even a civil crime. I really wish I had the evidence to take some people to court for slander and exploiting a disabled individual. Obviously, I shouldn't have been stayed cleaner when I got out of rehab, but that's just not how it happened. Of course, I couldn't even smoke cigarettes there. But they gave me a patch, but I was still fiending half the day, but it kind of helped. So I thought I'd be content with just smoking cigarettes. Of course, you're 21 plus, you can buy weed recreationally at a dispensary. If you're on probation without a medical card, which I was on misdemeanor probation, but no medical card, therefore I was breaking the law. We're a violation of probation hearing. They sentenced me to 30 days minus 21 days I already served previously, which was in December and January. Went twice. This street name Rah Mexican guy. And no, I don't have a problem with him because he's Mexican or Hispanic. I just don't like it. Yeah, I don't like the swindlers, the con artists, the self-interested people, the junkies, the people that will get you high. If you get them higher, rarely ever putting people that don't pull their own weight, people that dumbasses that drop out in the 9th grade that somehow get lucky and get a $25 an hour per job, no degrees or anything. Hell, he didn't even have a driver's license. He lost that more than several years ago because instead of paying off the fees to get his license back so he can lawfully drive, he'd rather just buy fucking drugs all the time. You see, what I am is a functional addict. I pay my debts, my bills, I invest, I save money. Fuck, that's not your business. I don't want it. I don't want 99% of the world, even though I have a damn dime to my name. Because if someone's hungry, the Bible calls me to get them a meal. But the Bible does not call me to be, just because I'm a Christian, for me to be a doormat, for me to be an ATM. If some stranger on the street's trying to mug me, wants $10, $20, I've been a druggie before. I've been able to get drugs for $10, $15. Usually not enough, but he very well could be getting drugs for that, or cigarettes, or beer, or whatever else. Or maybe he wants an escort to perform a sex act for him. I don't know. I don't have to submit. I don't have to say yes to everything. I don't need to be a people pleaser anymore. God calls me to get along with people, respect others, relate with people. I want God's normal for my life. I don't want the world's normal. I don't need to conform to all the ways of the world, because there's no eternal life in that. A lot of the time, there's not even earthly blessings in that. You adopt God's principles, like tithing in good faith. Hopefully your intention isn't just for God to get you back plus more. It's because you want to do it. Do things like that. Follow the law. Go to a good church, Spirit-filled one. Work, pull your old weight, pay your debts. Be a good father, good mother. All that. Better yourself, educate yourself. Go to Michigan Works like I've been doing. You're doing all that, But yeah. So at this point, where am I going with all this? I'm all over the place. But like I've told you earlier in the video, I have a host of conditions, not all there, like a lot of them, and it's serious ones, but all right. But yeah. And don't think just because I'm schizoaffective and then to think like that shouldn't have to discredit my beliefs. And through a lot, I've seen a lot, I've researched a lot of things. I have a background in different belief systems. I've swung from Democrat, the left, to the right, because my wife agreed with most of it. Became pro-life, not redneck pro-life. Of course, deep down, I have no objections to aborting a pregnancy if it's caused by incest or something. But yeah. Where was I? But yeah, I don't. Whether or not I'm still a substance abuser does not give people the right to try to invade my life, try to use me as an ATM. Oh, even if I were misusing government funds, which I don't do. All right. Usually entirety state-issued funds for my needs, investments, giving money to my mother, and piling up so I get my own place. I don't need to be living it's weird living a mom's house at 32 going on 33, yada, yada, yada. But I put over $1,000 of food in the cupboards here. Never used, once I moved back to my mom's, wasn't ever selling my bridge card. I don't care how much I was fiending for shit. Just wait until I make my own money. Like from eBay or selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace, cutting lawns, shoveling snow, that kind of stuff. And that is the only time I ever treat myself to something or a vice I shouldn't have, some of which are illegal. But all right. I don't know, you tell me. What do you think I should do with my life? Everything I told you. Think I'm all mixed up? Think I'm a lost cause? You think I need to get back on meds? I got to see a psychiatrist. Last place I got meds from was an inpatient unit there for 20 days because I was tweaking at a homeless shelter. A rehab, which is my second time to go there. My intention was actually to get clean, make a better attempt at it, and actually apply myself fully there. But that wasn't in the cards. I was sort of tweaking there, not breaking rules, too up and about, talking to too many people, saying things I shouldn't. I thought I wasn't sleeping first night I was there, and I ended up going. They asked me if I wanted to get checked out at the hospital. The paramedics came. They left my phone there. They're thinking, oh, because I'm an addict, so I'm in rehab. They don't want me to have my phone. They don't want me hitting up plugs. I don't have any damn plugs. I know it's just protocol. Macomb County, I don't know anyone from around there. Just let me have my damn phone. I ended up being there for 20 days longer than I should. The doctor, a lot of these psychiatrist ones I meet are quacks, half-ass. They'll just be throwing pills at you, 5-10 minutes of speculation. A lot of time they won't even ask you anything or much at all about your family history, whether you got diabetes or heart problems or this or that. Less the side effects or less those medications, make you develop those issues. They just threw a Abilify at me. Oh, because I said I took it in 2013, it sort of helped me. Little did I know I'd be having to develop restless legs. I could barely ever sit still. Not even freaking groups and meetings. I had to squirm around my chair. And then it took them 10 days, at least several days, after telling them and writing them notes at the desk that this medicine isn't helping me. It wasn't even helping me act right or be normal, but it was making me have to walk around tardive dyskinesia. I used the wrong wording, tardive dyskinesia at first. It was restless legs. They didn't finally switch me over to Zyprexa, which I was originally on when I was at. They actually gave me that, prescribed me that when I was in the rehab. They were able to do that. For whatever reason, I wasn't continued on Zyprexa because the devil likes to get me hooked up these quack fucking doctors, that just throw all these pills at you with just making quick speculations. And then it takes longer than it should to get off the medicine. And sometimes they're cranking it up more than it should be just because something set you off before your psychiatrist appointment, like slipping on the ice, you're a little irate, double your met. Yeah. It shouldn't be, okay, even if a doctor, doesn't matter what their belief system is, but if they're a full-blown radical atheist, okay, and they're hearing about someone with a strong spiritual background talking about they're widowed, this woman and their wife, she fit me like a glove, she brought me back to my Christian roots. I didn't really say much of anything about it. Maybe I said one little thing. And then automatically, originally diagnosed as bipolar, up until that I moved back to Michigan from Wisconsin, my wife's home state, passed away of kidney failure at 31. I was 23. We were together for 2 years, 3 months, married in day 78. And she just couldn't pull through the kidney dialysis. Her kidneys would be full of fluid every day, and they'd have to pump it out. Painful, crying, praying for her, showing up. Also at a group home with a fucking Satanist, a nut job, talking about the Illuminati. He likes the darker aspects of Catholicism, purgatory, the oracle, and all that stuff. And just after I got pulled out of Satan's kingdom, I was at my in-laws' house, which is embarrassing, accused of being adult children, but I would always try to pull my own weight. My wife would hold a job for as long as she could, sometimes 3 months, other times 4 or 5 or 6, because things would get stressful. She gained all this weight because a quack psychiatrist. She ended up getting put in the mental health unit. She's going a little crazy. And then what they did is they put her on 2 fucking weight gainers. Zyprexa and another one. 2 of them! And she gains all this fucking weight. She grew up in the church as a real Christian, but she was misled. She was very critical in her heart towards overweight people, think that they're all just lazy gluttons. And she looked like a model. I have a picture when she was 16. And then I guess God isn't mocked. She later became very overweight, around 350 pounds. My mom put in a number in her phone Fat bitch, psycho bitch. So, okay. But yeah. Like, thanks a lot for killing my wife. Have her stand lithium, clonazepam. So a lot of these meds are not meant, you're not meant to put them, keep people on these pills for fucking decades, 5, 10, 15 years. Because over time, it's probably doing something to your vital organs. But I guess that didn't occur to them. Yeah, and I guess at times she took ibuprofen with it. I only got like 6 months left to file a wrongful death lawsuit. If I even have the documentation from doctors to prove this is wrongful death from these medications. But yeah, pray and cross your fingers for me. I get $250,000 from this because I deserve a break. And it's like, God, give me neither poverty nor riches. For if I'm too rich, I have too much, I may forsake thee, may forsake you. But if I have too little or have nothing, I may curse thee. Hey, I'm not exactly Job, but I'm getting there. But I'm definitely not Job. He never cursed God. But yeah. But I deserve a break from that, you know. Only worked 5 years or 4 years collectively, and I'm 32. But with all these conditions, I could only do so much better. The second job was that 1 year, 8 months. But as I came there, I'd sometimes bring my problems to work, sometimes be shouting, clanging, banging things at the dish tank. Sometimes the boss, when I was tweaking on shit, I was mad about people taking advantage of me. I got to the point where I just would quit answering my door unless I thought I had to answer it, like it's a landlord pissed about something or a cop or whatever. I eventually quit answering my door because the vast majority of those people are just self-interested people looking for something for their chore for their crack pipe, wanting to get high, or the most they can give me is $20 so we can go get high. Sometimes rides to work. Of course, the landlord told me, don't let that guy come here anymore. Don't answer your door. Like, I was like, oh, you're just assuming things about him just by looking at him? Like, yes, John. I'm not stupid. I've been around for how long? Guess how long I've been around? I was like 65 years. Close, 66, but yeah. I don't want to play victim because I had a large role to play in all this. I could have said no way more often. I didn't have to answer the door. I didn't have to allow myself to trust certain people when there were red flags early on. I shouldn't have been using substances. Better yet, couldn't have at least been a functional user, but yeah. Messed up my own life through poor decisions, but there's another equal component to this. Benevolent forces. I hate to sound like a madman, but it's been confirmed to me through both Christians, even witches, spiritualists living at temples, that yeah, I have antagonistic adversarial forces that see me as a shining one. What they want to do is tell you got to do this and that, clear bad energies, and like you'll have your destiny and good things in store for you. But what they're really trying to do is they're unknowingly used by the devil, unknowingly deceived by Satan, and to try to get you to delay or forfeit your true destiny in God through a different path, spiritualism, familiar spirits, and so-called ancestors. Despite all my Bible knowledge, growing up in a background, you know, with God, a real Christian. Oh, a hypocritical one. I did let God mold me. There's more to do. But yeah, I got caught up in the substance abuse, spiritualism. And when I was a teenager, 17, 18, 19, I was influenced. I was into the Anton LaVey sort of literature, ideology, and Crowley, really evil stuff like that, you know. Well, the Satanic Bible really isn't that evil, okay? But, you know, their rules are don't kill little children for they're the future, and don't kill animals unless you're attacked or for food. Yeah, good golden rules. But yeah, telling you that your animal nature is your true nature, and as long as you're not breaking the laws around you, you should be able to enjoy your indulgences, whatever else, you know, things like that. But yeah, being prescribed Adderall sure didn't help my head with that. It made me focus at school, I could survive in 5, 6 hours of sleep without putting my head down in class. Brain changed after high school. Amphetamines they prescribed me for ADHD. Of course, they carried on an ADHD diagnosis from 6 to 21. After that, they dropped it. You start understanding there's a DSM change around 2013. 2014 diagnosed as autistic. And one time the psychiatrist and my dad showed up to an appointment, very cut and dry guy, not very well informed of a lot of things. just thinks I'm different, not autistic. Oh, your social skills aren't exactly where you want them. I don't think you have Asperger's. Of course, that's what it used to be called, like 2012, 2013. But I don't think you're autistic, just different. You think different. But then she had to explain to him that, yeah, I'm autistic. Been confirmed. She's trained to spot those things, but although high functioning, you don't see me rocking back and forth in my chair. I listen to people, I look them in the eye and all that, but yeah. My dad obviously thinks you got to be like Forrest Gump, be autistic, but oh yeah. So all that. So I went through. Let's see all the things here's an overview, here's a recap. Here's all the things I've been through in life. House fire, 2011, State Farm insured it. And 3 cats died, but whole house didn't burn. Also, religious, spiritual confusion, dabbling in the dark arts, Satanism, left-hand path. The substance abuse was mild, almost non-existent. Like, I didn't even feel the need to smoke cigarettes. This was peer pressured into it occasionally. But only drink if friends were pushing me to it on the weekends. Sometimes my brother and his friends would convince me to smoke some pot because they knew that Concert and Adderall, what I was prescribed, was kind of fucking me up. I would be acting like a tweaker. Like I could run a marathon every week. It was giving me all this energy, but it was unfocused energy. Yeah, so I guess I needed weed, calm down. But yeah, of course, that was before it came recreation legal. So substance abuse, you have it. Went through spiritual confusion, or spiritual warfare. I went through being widowed. What else? I've went through, well, people have tried to scam me. Probably got scammed of a couple hundred. Because one of those vulnerable people, shining souls, has a bright future if I make the right decisions, pull my own weight, work on myself and all that, better myself, make myself marketable, read God's word, give up things like PMO, legal street drugs and stuff like that. I should probably give up the coarse humor. I probably should be more discriminate in the video games I play. Like I don't play Grand Theft Auto. Certain things in that game no one should be doing or seeing, picking up hookers, shooting random people. But yeah, I have work to do. I can understand why you think I'm hypocritical, a nut, or whatever else, or radical, mentally ill, schizophrenic. Call me whatever you want, But yeah, I'm not making myself up like I'm this absolute victim, because a lot of the problems in my life and why I don't have as much as I should, or why I haven't reached certain milestones in my life. I even took driver's training, passed it, but I failed 2 road tests, never had my license. Like, yeah, I was married. I went to college 2 semesters. I was like a D+ student, half trying, half not. Wasn't quite ready. So yeah, I made some shitty decisions. I've made myself a victim through poor decisions, but a lot of the time, more so other people are doing, manipulating me, using me, trying to blackmail me, extortion. Allowed myself to be a victim. What I couldn't have done is just cut them out of my life or even reported them for extortion, Whatever losses I may have, should have just cut my losses. Oh, maybe the DHS couldn't have cut my shit off for a time until I turned in some stubs, ATM receipts, spending money on all that. But yeah, people will want they'll want to suck you dry. And then when you have nothing left to offer, and you just do one little minor infraction, you drink the last of the milk that they wanted to give to their toddler, warm it up, help them sleep, and I'm kicked out for that. Yet I was working at KFC. They weren't fucking working, sending pictures, uploads of them at the beach, while I'm busting my ass off at KFC doing the work of 2 or 3 people at night, paid $12.50 an hour. Well, he lost a $25 an hour job. He was dumb, not showing up for work. Couldn't letting his girlfriend leave him home, keep him from driving to work, to keep buying fucking pills and Percocets and cocaine and shit. She's probably throwing in a little bit, but yeah. Obviously, Morgan was just using him, ruined his future. Could have still had that job, making real money. Enough money to have his own car, get his driver's license. He later became homeless because of his destructive decisions. His narcissistic mind, trying to get me, I took you in. You're homeless, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you suck me dry. You threatened to call Social Security and all that shit. And then, yeah, slandering me and, throwing me away. Of course, I had another place to stay. Townhouse neighborhood. They actually cared about me. Not perfect. Like a lot of the time we couldn't even have the heat on. We could keep the heat on for 30 minutes. She can't afford to keep the heat on all the time, especially when her daughter isn't there. Because she wants to spend all her money on fucking Percocets. And once all that money is spent, if they need to eat food, oh, I got to pay for that too. And I get a $2 burrito. They make $18, $26, $30 orders. They're gobbling up, eating up 90% of that food. I get 10%. If I complain, I'm the bad guy. Give them almost everything I have. How good thing I didn't tell them about acorns. What I have in there, like 120. They would have wanted that as well. They wanted everything. And also, they had the audacity to tell me I should go to fucking rehab, which I should have. Having me abscond, having me spend all my money to support her habits, mostly theirs, when I needed some of that money for the court-ordered drug tests for being on PR bond. I was lucky to get PR bond. I was lucky they dropped it from a 4-year felony, felony assault, to a misdemeanor aggravated assault. Of course, he was never attacked. Of course, Michigan law is a little whack. But yeah, doing all that, and of course that I was on their computer once because they had my phone. 2 days downstairs just watching Netflix on my phone, going to town on my shit in my Cash App, changing my password, putting in a thumbprint ID on my app I didn't create, and then making monthly payments, setting payments, money to come out of my bank account to support their fucking habit. Whether I'm hopeless, whether they're taking me and putting a roof over my head, doesn't matter. That's illegal. That's fraud. Having me misuse government money to support their fucking habit. Most of the time I wasn't even doing fucking drugs because I needed money for fucking food. And I was looking for a job. Fucker had my phone for 2 days. He goes through my shit trying to accuse me, and I'm spending half my time looking up half-naked women, or he said bitches, on Instagram. You didn't go to your interviews. I didn't go to my fucking interviews because you won't even let me have $1 to my name. Take a fucking bus. There's a word for someone like that, but I can't use it. It starts with the letter S, and it ends with the letter C. But I'm not going to go there because I'm not Donald Trump. And if you're like that, the narcissists, spiritual scammers, people deceived by the devil, con artists, like, stay out of my life. I'm not giving anyone a fucking dime unless I know that God is putting it on my heart to do it. Don't twist the scriptures. Don't try to confuse me or mislead me or delay my destiny. Steal from my destiny. Because you're going to pay for it in the end. You might end up selling your soul for it. Well, that's my life story and my rant for now. I'm going to wrap this up. YouTubers, thank you for viewing this crazy video. I really need to work on this. I might even try to edit this.